Hi everyone, this is Gopi Krishna Mahalingam, School of Sports Science, Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science. Introduction to Unit 2, Motor Skill Acquisition and Performance. Welcome to Unit 2, where we will explore motor skill acquisition and its impact on performance. In today's session, we'll examine how skills are learned and refined through practice, as well as the factors that influence this process. We will discuss the integration of sensory and motor systems, the various stages of skill development, and the crucial role of feedback, attention, motivation, and practice in enhancing the performance. Motor learning skill acquisition is not just about repeating an action until it is correct. It is about how the brain and body collaborate to create more efficient and effective movements. By the end of this session, you will have a deeper understanding of how motor skills develop and the key factors that contribute to optimal performance. Sensory motor learning. Sensory motor learning refers to the process of integrating sensory input such as what we see, hear, and feel with motor actions to guide movement. Think of it as a feedback loop where our senses continuously monitor and adjust how we move, allowing us to improve coordination and efficiency. For example, when you play basketball, your brain constantly receives visual feedback on where the ball is, auditory feedback from the sound of the game, and proprioceptive feedback from the position of your body. All of these signals inform your movement decisions. This process is crucial for fine-tuning movements. Over time, as we practice, we rely less on conscious thinking and the motor skill becomes more automatic. So this is why novice athletes need to focus on every movement, but with experience, the process becomes much more fluid and effortless. Stages of motor skill acquisition. Motor skill acquisition is not a one-time event. It unfolds over time and through several distinct stages. Understanding these stages helps us recognize how learners progress and what challenges they face at each phase. So moving to the stages, we have cognitive stage. In the cognitive stage, the learner is just beginning to understand a skill. So this stage is often characterized by a lot of conscious thought and decision making. It is a time of trial and error where learners make frequent mistakes as they try to understand the movement pattern. For example, if someone is learning to play tennis, they may focus on how to grip the racket, where to position their feet, and how to swing. This stage can be mentally taxing and performance is often inconsistent. The second stage, we have associative stage. So in this stage, once the learner has a grasp of basic movements, they enter to the associative stage. This is where refinement happens. Through more practice, movements become smoother and more coordinated. Errors still happen, but they are less frequent and smaller in nature. The learner begins to internalize the motor patterns and muscle memory starts to develop. In tennis, the player begins to consistently hit the ball with more accuracy and control, with less cognitive effort involved in each stroke. So moving to the last stage, we have autonomous stage. It is a final stage where the skill becomes second nature. The learner no longer needs to consciously think about each movement. Their focus shifts to strategy, decision making, and adapting the skill to different situations. For example, in tennis, the player now instinctively knows how to position themselves for a return, when to switch up the pace, and how to exploit their opponent's weakness without thinking about the basic mechanics of the stroke. And lastly, we have the cognitive stage. Let's take a closer look at the cognitive stage. In this stage, the learner is primarily focused on understanding what the skill involves. They are trying to take or make sense of the movement and how to execute it. This stage requires a lot of conscious control and is often accompanied by a lot of mistakes as the learner experiments with different techniques to find what works best for them or him or her. This is a stage where we have to concentrate heavily on the task. For example, a beginner learning to swim may struggle with coordinating breathing and stroke movements. At first, every action feels unnatural. There is a lot of mental effort to ensure each part of the stroke is executed correctly. While learners are trying to figure out the correct movements, they may feel frustrated as their performance tends to be inconsistent. However, it is during the stage that learners start to create mental maps of the motor task, which will be built upon in the next stages. Moving on to the associative stage. So let's move into the associative stage. So here where the learner begins to refine the skill. In this stage, the learner movements become more fluid and more coordinated. They start to make fewer errors and the action become more automatic. The learner is no longer experimenting as much but instead practicing to refine the technique and increase consistency. Take for example a basketball player who has learned how to shoot but still struggles with consistency. As they practice, their shooting form becomes more consistent and they begin to miss fewer shots. The focus is now less about figuring out the mechanics of the shot and more about improving the precision of each action. The player is still improving, but they are becoming more skilled and reliable. The learner's attention is now able to shift toward making more tactical decisions like adjusting shot selection based on defense or thinking ahead about positioning. Now we have the autonomous stage. The autonomous stage marks the point at which the skill becomes more automatic. The learner no longer needs to consciously think about the technique. Movement become more effortless. This is where we see experts perform with ease, whether in sports, arts or everyday in activities. For instance, a professional soccer player does not need to think about how to dribble or pass the ball they have done. It is so many times that it happens without conscious thought. At this stage, the focus shifts from execution to strategy, adaptability, and problem solving. The player might focus on reading the game, predicting the opponent's next move, or conserving energy for key moments. The learner is now capable of applying the skill in variety of contexts, adapting it to different situations without any decline in performance. Feedback and practice for effective skill acquisition. Now let's discuss two crucial factors that contribute to effective motor skill acquisition, that is feedback and practice. To start with feedback, feedback provides the learner with information about how well they are performing. This feedback can be intrinsic, such as feel of well executed tennis serve, or extrinsic, like coaches' comments after a performance. Feedback helps guide adjustments and improvements. Immediate feedback, such as coach pointing out an error right after a serve, is often the most effective. It helps the learner correct mistakes in real time, which is crucial during the earlier stages of learning. And stepping forward to the deliberate practice, practice is a key to mastering any skill, but it's not just about repetition. Effective practice is deliberate and purposeful. It involves focused, structured effort to improve specific aspects of a skill. A tennis player might spend hours on the court, but without deliberate practice, focusing on areas like footwork or stroke precision, the practice would not be effective. This is where the feedback plays a critical role, helping the learner refine and improve through focused practice. Together, feedback and deliberate practice help the guide the learner's journey from conscious effort to automatic execution. Conclusion. In conclusion, motor skill acquisition is a dynamic process that involves several stages from conscious effort to automaticity. Through focused practice, feedback, and attention to detail, individuals can refine their skills and increase their performance. The key takeaways are: skill acquisition starts with understanding the task in cognitive stage, progresses through refinement in associative stage, and ultimately leads to automatic performance in autonomous stage. To master a skill, it is essential to incorporate deliberate practice and timely feedback to guide the learning processes. I hope this session has given you valuable insights into how motor skills are acquired and refined. Thank you so much for your attention. I look forward to seeing how you apply these principles to your own learning and performance. Thank you. Looking forward to the next session.